And greetings YouTube gamers, welcome to a very special episode of Retro Raider. My name is Johnny Retro and welcome to the channel. Let me start by saying this, guys. I am very excited about today's episode. And today's episode is one that I've been planning pretty much since the beginning of the year. Because today we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of one of my favorite games of all time. And if you guys follow my channel, you guys know that usually here on the Retro Raider show, we usually talk about console gaming, everything from, the good old NES, the Mega Drive, the PlayStation. Even in modern gaming, when I talk about modern gaming, I usually talk about, modern consoles. Home consoles, that's where my heart is. That's how I like to game. However, the game that I'm going to talk about today, the game that is turning 20 years old today, is a PC game. One of my favorite PC games of all time, one of my favorite RPGs of all time, and honestly, one of my favorite video games of all time. And definitely a game that brings me a lot of nostalgia, a lot of good memories, and I'm going to share them with you on today's video. So let's start this, shall we? Happy birthday, DarkStone Evil Reigns. And yeah, it's hard to believe, for the few of you that still remember this game from back in the late 90s, DarkStone is turning 20 years old today. And for those of you who never heard about DarkStone Evil Reigns, well, let me tell you a little bit about the background of this game and what is DarkStone all about? You guys probably heard and played Diablo, the classic Diablo game. Well, DarkStone is a game that it kind of follows Diablo's footsteps. It is a dungeon crawler RPG, a medieval themed dungeon crawler RPG. This genre was huge back in the day. There was a lot of dungeon crawlers in the late 90s. And Diablo was a very important game. And it was not the first one, but it kind of set up the formula. So is it fair to say that DarkStone is a Diablo clone? Well, I wouldn't say that it's fair, but it uses the same formula. So in DarkStone you pick the role of a hero or a heroine, and you go on a quest to defend the land from the evil sorcerer Drek. Drek is this all-powerful sorcerer warlock who transforms into a big dragon. And Drek is pretty much immortal, but there's a weapon that you must find in order to defeat him. And that weapon is the Time Orb. However, in order to find the Time Orb, you must travel through the different lands and find the 7 crystals to build the ultimate crystal, the Time Orb. So yeah, the story is kinda cliche. You go on quests, you go on dungeons, you kill dragons, and you score the loot, the gold. When it comes to the hero, each hero represents a different class. You can be a warrior or a fighter, you can be a thief, you can be a sorcerer, you can pick a priest, and you can be male or female. For example, if you pick male, you play as the warrior. However, if you pick female, you play as the Amazon. And going back to the story and the lore of DarkStone is really not that complex, but the story, it's not the reason why you play this game. It's all about the mechanics, it's all about the character build, it's all about the gameplay, it's all about the exploration. And most importantly, like in any good dungeon crawler, it's all about the grind. If you don't like to grind, this is not the game for you. Because the whole point of this game was to beat it over and over again. For example, you start the game as a level 1 character. You can beat the game and you get loot and you get different weapons. However, if you beat the game and let's say that you repeat the game but on a higher level, you get more powerful weapons, you can build a much stronger character, and there's a lot of replayability because the maps, the dungeons and side quests, which are a lot of them, are all generated randomly. Now, a very cool feature, a very cool mechanic that sets DarkStone apart from different dungeon crawlers from its time, it's the fact that you get to pick 2 characters simultaneously. You can pick just one, but there's a lot of advantages by picking 2. Because let's say that from the 2 you have a main character that you want to level up, you want to explore, you want to battle with. Then the second character, well, it can be the loot carrier. And another very cool thing is that you could play this game online, which I did back in the day, and let me tell you guys, I think that this was one of the very first games that I've played online with friends. Now, DarkStone was not an exclusive to PC. This game was originally released in 1989 in North America and in Europe, and 2 years later in 2001 it was ported to the PS1. Now, the PS1 version is not as good as the PC one. The graphics are worse, the town is smaller, no background music in certain parts, and I could be wrong, but I think that you also don't have side quests. But fun fact, the PlayStation 1 version costs 3 times more than the PC one. I recently got this one for my collection, and it's one that I've been looking for, since forever, pretty much. And I got lucky on an eBay auction because I just couldn't find a copy, a complete big box PC version, PC copy of DarkStone here locally in Portugal. So yeah, they are kind of rare, but when they appear on eBay, they're cheap. Now, I want to go back 20 years ago and tell you guys my memories, my story of how I got to know about this game. So I just turned 11 years old, more or less, and this was on my 5th grade, and I think that I've already mentioned this one time before here on the channel. And if you didn't notice when I said it, you guys are probably going to be a little bit surprised by it, but the truth is that for 11 years, I went on a Christian school. I'm not kidding, a Christian school, Catholic school, whatever you want to call it. Looking back, do I regret it, or was it a bad time for me? Well, not really. Well, I'm not a Catholic anymore, and I think that has to do with the fact that I went, on a private Catholic school. Because really, guys, I don't want to talk about religion, but that's what it does to you. I respect all religions as long as they respect me and my opinions. And I did have great friends, back in the day at school. And I do have good memories, but it was tough in a way. We had to use uniforms, we had to behave in a certain way. There were a lot of stuff that we were not supposed to do. A lot of books that we were not supposed to read. A lot of music that we were not supposed to listen to. A lot of clothes that we were not allowed to wear in certain days where, the uniform was not mandatory. So yeah, this is kind of a teen cliche story, but that's how Johnny here got into heavy metal and Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy and the whole goth scene. Now, in that school, I had a group of friends. We were like, 3 or 4 kids, and we were the geeky kids. We were the kids that, yeah, we played soccer with the other kids, with the sports kids, but then we kind of had our separate group. And this was the group of, Magic the Gathering, video games, heavy metal. But at that early age, 11, 12 more or less, video games was our thing. And I was the only one from the group that didn't grow up with PC gaming. So back in the day, we used to go, to each other's houses. For example, they used to come to my place and play PlayStation games because I was the first one to get the PlayStation. And they played the games that I had, games like Crash Bandicoot, Tomb Raider, Final Fantasy. Then I used to go to their place. For example, one of these kids had the Sega Saturn. So we went there and we played Sega Saturn at this kid's place. And the other one had a lot of PC games, especially RPGs. And I kinda knew what RPGs were at the time. You guys know I used to read a lot of Final Fantasy books, but I didn't have a lot of background or experience with RPGs in video games. We had Final Fantasy VII, which was huge. Of course that we had Pokemon, but not a lot of experience with this type of, dungeon crawlers, medieval setting type of RPGs. So this kid, he was the newest in the group. I still remember him. His name was Francisco Domingos. He was a super cool dude, but I think that, this kid was kind of the underdog kid, if you will. He was new in the school, and by the way, we were all on the same class, but this kid had, a hard time to fit in. His mother was very tough on him, and he also had a couple of health issues. He had diabetes, but he was a gamer, and video games were his escape, so of course that we welcomed him in our group, in our little geeky group. And this guy had a huge PC library. This was the kid that introduced us to Diablo. This was the kid that introduced us to Dungeon Siege later on. And one day we were having lunch at his place, and he introduced us to this awesome game called DarkStone. And I was very thrilled because very recently I got my first PC at home. It was this crappy compact PC with Windows 98, but it did the job, and I could play PC games on it. Now, of course that my parents were not going to give me PC games because I already had the PlayStation and the Game Boy Color, so I really couldn't complain. However, back in the day, you could copy certain PC games, certain discs that were not protected. And DarkStone Evil Reigns was one of them. A very good friend of mine from that group, his name is Diogo, and his nickname was Buddha because he was kind of the chubby kid of the group. This guy was a big friend of mine from back in the day, in school. And I still got in touch with him, you know, from time to time, and he was the one that hooked me up with a copy of DarkStone. Now, I'm not here to promote piracy, but I still have it. I still have my original copy that my friend made me from back in the day. And this is the one, DarkStone, right here. And this is the copy that I used to play back in the day. So it was only now, 20 years later, that I got the original thing in my collection. Now, there's still one more thing that I want to talk about DarkStone, and this is a very important thing for me. One of my favorite parts about the game is the music. And this game had a specific song made to it, a song that it's available in-game, it's available on the actual disc. A song by the amazing French singer Audrey. Within the CD you get the actual music video of the song, and it's amazing. And in-game, on the town, you have these gypsy characters, and you kind of have an Easter egg with them, so you can get them a gold coin, and they will perform the song for you. So the singer Audrey, she has her character within the game.
Step by step, you'll find a way to save your soul. Oh, the DarkStone will shine.
And this iconic song for me from DarkStone, DarkStone Will Shine, it's very important for me, not only because, you know, of course it reminds me of the game, but when I learned how to play the guitar, when I was 13, 14 more or less, this was one of the very first songs that I learned on the guitar, on the acoustic guitar. And I want to share with you guys this another quick story related to Audrey, the singer. I got in touch with her early on this year, and I told her that I was going to make a video celebrating the 20th anniversary of DarkStone. We talked on Facebook, I think that we talked for about 1 hour more or less, and she was super cool, super sweet with me. And she gave me some exclusive background about the song, so I could share with you guys here on today's video. So I'm going to butcher his name, but the game creator, Paul Crusett, he got in touch with Audrey for her to write a song for the game, for DarkStone. And he sent her a lot of information about the game so she could work on the lyrics. He gave her some sketches, some footage, the background, and they ended up writing the lyrics together. And the song was composed by the composer Chris Rhyme. It was recorded in Belgium in Studio 20, which, according to Audrey, is a studio that it doesn't exist anymore. And she also sent me some awesome photos for me to share with you guys. This was kind of a very exclusive collector's edition of the game. And this version right here that you guys are seeing, it's hers. And it is signed by the whole DarkStone Evil Reigns team. So Audrey, if you're watching this, thank you so much for the conversation that we had. Thank you so much for the information and for the footage. And guys, I will leave the link of Audrey's official Facebook page in the description box below for you guys to check it out. And yes, she still sings and she still performs DarkStone Won't Shine on her live shows. And yeah, this concludes the video, guys. I mean, this was not a review of DarkStone. I was not planning to go for a review. I just wanted to talk about my personal memories and experience with this game, to talk about Audrey, because, you know, this is part of my childhood. And yes, this game kind of had, you know, poor sales back in the day. A lot of people don't remember it, but, you know, for me, it is a very special game. And yeah, I really wanted to pay tribute to it, so happy birthday, DarkStone Evil Reigns. And what about you guys? Please let me know on the comment section below if you guys played DarkStone back in the day. Let me know if you played the PC version or if you played the PS1 version. So let me know on the comment section below. If you guys want to support the show, feel free to check out the Retro Raiders Patreon page. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to put a like on this video, please subscribe to the channel, and take care of yourselves, take care of the gaming community, and game a lot.